haven't looked at actually like any of the reviews. I read like Roger Ebert's review, and that was it. He was none too impressed.
Yeah, I
Great.
mean,
That's a good enough place to start, right? Yeah, I don't have any bits. So welcome to Film School Dropouts, everyone.
hey,
This is a movie podcast that's actually just an excuse for me to talk about directors that I'm interested in with my friend Brent.
me too.
I'm James.
I'm Brent.
Great timing on that.
Sweet.
No, but on a more serious note, we talk about different directors every season. I don't have one to kill. Oh, I forgot to prep one.
No. We're not killing any more
Oh
directors. We're
no,
we're we're shelving that for a little bit.
no,
All the
it's good.
directors are saved. They're all healthy and fine.
Oh, I want to kill one so bad.
No, that's fine. We're continuing on with Ridley Scott.
All right, fine. Yes, we're in the middle of talking about Ridley Scott's oeuvre, and we have gotten to a movie that I have never fucking heard of, don't know anything about, and didn't know exists. Doesn't really feel like it exists. I'm gonna say this might be the most anonymous movie we have covered.
I mean, it's definitely up there. It's very 80s, kind of hidden in the decade. I feel you get a lot of 80s from this movie.
Yeah, we can get into it because like aside from maybe Wide Awake, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, I feel like this is the only movie we've covered.
See, why do we got to start? Why do we got to start on such?
I'm just saying, in terms of
note?
like, and in terms of like, does this movie even? Does anyone know that this movie exists? I feel like this is right up there with it. But yeah, I mean, well, I guess we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. We should probably talk about some little movies, some smaller movies that we like to put some highlight on.
Oh, man, let me just shake that off real quick.
So, all right, well, I can start.
M. Night Disaster.
I can start.
Yeah, tell me about a little movie.
So the movie I watched this week was M. Night Shyamalan's Wide Awake. It's a second feature.
Oh my god! I almost threw up.
Oh no! Remember when we recorded a whole podcast on that one movie?
Why did we do it? See, that's torture.
You chose M. Night Shyamalan.
I did.
This is the thing.
Well, since yours was a kind of like a little joke, little movie.
Well, I mean, I have a real one.
Mine actually will bring us down quite a bit. So let's just get this over with. It's Pinocchio.
Oh,
yeah. Let's just get it over with.
More like Pinocchio. Thank you.
Oh yeah. All right. That works.
Got his ass.
Got him. Yeah.
The latest film from Robert Zemeckis, a director we're never going to cover.
Don't you dare! Dude.
I've already done him. I cut him out in like season 1.
Yeah, and I saved him.
You want to save him after this? Go ahead. Talk about Pinocchio.
I'll tell you what, this is not helping his case very much.
No, neither is any movie he's made in the last like 20 years. But go ahead.
Relax. Didn't he make? Was he responsible for The Walk with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yes, he was responsible for whatever
that
Joseph
masterpiece.
Gordon. Ooh,
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I do like the actual Walk portion of that, but God, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is doing.
All right, we're talking about Tom Hanks here in Pinocchio.
Yeah.
He's actually Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this also.
Also guilty. Everyone should be arrested in this movie.
What about the actual Pinocchio?
No, that thing needs to be cast into the depths of hell. Robert Zemeckis decided
to remake. Boy.
Well, good. He'll burn forever. Robert Zemeckis decided that his next project would be to remake Pinocchio, a movie so full of heart. I can see exactly why he did it. The passion comes through. It seems like something that he really cares about. No, I'm joking. This is the most soulless piece of shit I've ever fucking seen. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably never going to review this. I don't think. Not eventually, but well, relax. Maybe we've reviewed The Last Airbender. All right.
This is worse.
Wow. Okay, you're really putting a line in the sand here.
I will admit I have a bit of a negative bias against Robert Zemeckis. I really don't like most of his movies, and I really don't like that he is held up to this like, oh my god, he's a master. It's like, no, he made like 3 good movies in the 80s and has never ever come close to that again, but because they're like culty movies, he's held up in this greatest. So I kind of already have a bit of a vendetta against him.
Yeah, you've been grinding the sacks for a while.
I really don't like Robert Zemeckis, and like, I'm justified.
Well, this My Little Movie with Pinocchio, I did not like it. I can tell you didn't really like it either.
Oh, did you get that vibe from me?
Yeah, just a little bit. So, What do you got?
Do you
Bring
want to
us
do you want
up.
to talk more about Pinocchio? I'm
No,
sorry,
I
I sort of
don't.
took that away from you because I was so angry about Pinocchio.
I don't. It's just, this is the second movie this year with Tom Hanks doing kind of a silly accent.
I didn't see Elvis. Did you see Elvis?
I did. I liked Elvis.
Okay, that's on my list. I know they got that on HBO Max. I'm gonna
Uh,
get that one.
the only
Yeah,
thing
this seems to be a bit of a cursed year for Tom Hanks, doesn't it?
I didn't mind him in that.
No, yeah,
No,
he's asleep at the wheel in Pinocchio.
well, yeah, I mean, it's just another one of these Disney movies that it's just like
So bad.
you don't need to do this. Like
It's so bad.
I don't think I've seen any of them that I've can even come close to the originals.
Love Dumbo. Love Tim Burton's Dumbo, but
Dumbo wasn't bad, but
that's a different
I
story. I
still
mean,
yeah, Tim Burton. But anyway, Mulan, Aladdin, no. Lion King, no.
no, I
Just
didn't see that. I saw the first
Jungle
that
Book
Jungle.
wasn't half bad.
That was all right. I didn't really care for it, but like I wasn't
It was
like,
John Favreau. No, John Favreau was
yeah.
Lion King.
No, he did that one
Did he?
too. Yeah, he did.
Jungle Book. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
mind Jungle Book.
Yeah. My whole thing with Robert Zemeckis, and I'll get this out of my system now. I feel like he's just been circling the drain for the last like decade, and it's just he's got nothing left to say as like an actual filmmaker, and he just keeps doing movies like this and The Witches, and it's just like it's the most depressing thing to see someone who made movies like Back to the Future and Who Framed Roger Rabbit end up making the most like soulless, just flat, ugly IP, like recycle. It's just there's nothing there, and it's. The guy needs to stop making movies. I think he needs to like start producing and like let other people make movies because he's woof. Anyways, sorry. All right, let me turn the tables.
No,
a little
excellent.
bit here.
Excellent breakdown on the Zemeck man.
I'm gonna bring up a movie that we're probably gonna cover one day, but like I'm too high on it right now not to talk about it. I went and saw Avatar again in 3D, and
Nice.
I just need to talk about this for a
That's
minute.
fine. Do it. I love it.
I know I saw Avatar when it came out once, and I don't think I saw it in 3D. I think I just saw it like with all my friends at like some, I don't know, whatever. And I was like, yeah, that was good. I wasn't blown away by it. I still to this day don't understand why it's like the highest grossing movie of all time. I really don't. It's kind of an incredible phenomenon. Like, it's just a sci-fi movie. It's a good looking one.
Well, I mean, it's the Cameron effect, right?
It is. It's so weird. It's really like Titanic. I get. Titanic is this like big sweeping romance. You want to go back over and over again. That final shot of like the camera going through like it's great. But Avatar is just like blue alien war movie, and like somehow that's the. Anyways, saw it when it came out. Thought it was fine. Rewatched it like 3 years ago at home, and I actively disliked it. I was like, oh, this is actually rubbing me the wrong way. I don't like the characters, and I don't like the story, and it just looks good. That's all. So
you did have a bit of a period there where you kind of were drifting away from Cameron, a little Cameron hate. There was a little tiny.
No, I would not call it hate.
You always
not call it hate.
Okay,
I would not. The Zemeckis thing is hate.
No, that's true.
I've
that's true.
never super connected with Cameron outside of Titanic, which is one of the 5 greatest movies ever made. I do love The Abyss, but yeah, I've just always thought like, okay, he's good with technology. He's not like the most exciting emotional director ever, but like he can put a set piece together and like really, wow your pants off. That's about, whatever. Anyways, all this to say, they re-released Avatar in 3D IMAX this weekend. And I saw my girlfriend and my roommate, they had not seen it. And I was like, you know what? Like, now's as good a time as any. Like, there's no point in you guys watching this at home for the first time when we can go see it in like the right format. So like, let's go see Avatar. This movie fucks so hard.
Yeah.
I'm so like this is a real like power of the movie theaters thing where like the whole movie has like a very basic white savior sort of story, and it's very it's really
Pocahontas, Dance with Wolves.
It's all of these things. Yes, Dances with Wolves in space, Pocahontas in space, and it's very simple storytelling, like really simple, like the preserving nature, all this like. There's nothing special about that. But the thing about James Cameron is he knows what he's fucking doing. So like he can just set up a simple story, get you invested in it. That way the last hour when it's nonstop action and this guy knows how to shoot action, you're just like fucking just going crazy. So yeah, I saw it in IMAX and I was just totally won over by it all over again. Like that thing is so powerful. It just completely puts you in like a chokehold and it's like, I'm not letting you go until you admit I'm great.
Yeah,
I admit it.
that was one I have to go actually and go and see it in IMAX 3D.
You should,
because
dude. It's
because at the time when it came out, I don't know, I didn't see it, but I been told by a lot of people that it was a different movie experience than anything
it's
else they've
so crazy.
ever seen. It
It's
blew their
so crazy.
minds.
And I will say this. I think, I'm going to put this on record right now. I think until any movie comes out that looks better than Avatar, any sci-fi blockbuster, because it hasn't happened yet.
Avatar 2.
Okay, sure. That doesn't count. I'm saying until someone aside from James Cameron can make a sci-fi blockbuster look as good as Avatar, this movie needs to be re-released in theaters every 10 years. Just to be like, hey, I'm still here. You still haven't made a movie that looks better than me. This movie still looks like the future. Like,
well, you're in luck because that seems to be what he wants to do.
I mean, I'm fine with him doing it. I'm just waiting for anyone else to like take the right lessons and be like, oh, we should actually care about how everything in our movie looks. All right. I think I've talked enough about Avatar.
Well, no, I agree completely. I think I've told you this before. There's only, I think, I always say 3 directors that make the most. They make the most out of the technology that's at hand. They make the most visually gorgeous. And I say this one, it's Cameron number 1.
Yeah.
And this might be controversial, but my mind was literally blown when I saw this 4K 3D Hobbit from Peter Jackson. I was dodging the arrows in the theater. There was a bumblebee in my face, and it was the realest bumblebee.
There was just a bee in the theater.
In the theater, it came through the exit. Okay,
you saw that one at like Macomb Mall, right?
That's where I got stung from. Okay, and then I like to give a shout out to J.J. Abrams because with his 3D, he likes to use particle effects, so it looks like okay. Well,
J.J. Abrams is a very good like. Here's a standard looking like Ruha. Like he doesn't break any ground. Jackson and Cameron are like redefining what you can do with movies. I also throw in Ang Lee, but that's fine.
Yeah, you do like Ang Lee. I saw Star Trek Into Darkness, the second one with Benedict Cumberbatch, and in 3D, and they were in that opening volcano scene. And literally, it looks like there's cinders falling all around you in the theater. It was so cool. I was like, this is, it was pretty awesome. Give that
one a shot. I've already killed J.J. Abrams. We're not covering him, so sorry about that.
J.J. is alive and kicking.
I don't know if he is.
He's got
after Rise of Skywalker, found dead in a ditch. J.J. Abrams.
God, fired. You just keep bringing it to such a dark place.
Well, I don't.
No, Rise of Skywalker. That's bad.
I didn't do that. I didn't make that movie. That's not my most recent work. No,
but that was hidden away in a vault in the back of my mind, and you just brought the key right there and put it up on a billboard.
I'm just saying. You see the last thing you made. Anyways, let's get into this movie. What do you think? Should we talk about this movie?
Today we're talking about Someone to Watch Over Me.
Let me just check my notes. Is that what it's called? Yes. No. It's called Somebody to Look After Me.
Oh, is that what it? Oh, well,
no, it's not. It's called Someone to Watch Over Me. What is this movie? All right, let's talk about it.
I never saw anybody killed before.
Take the witness and babysitter. But I don't want her to know that there's any real danger.
You didn't tell me she was so beautiful. I'm scared. Unless there's some particular reason that you feel better to be around her at night.
Oh, man, what's happening?
Michael, get off of this case.
She's my responsibility.
Well, we can't talk about anything else before we talk about this fucking title.
Okay, sure. Let's talk about Someone to Watch Over Me.
Because there's right off the opening credits, there's 2 renditions of the song that this movie is named after.
Yep.
Opening credits, we get in the silky smooth voice of Sting.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Sting.
Over some pretty gorgeous looking city shots of New York. Once again, Ridley just out of the gate. Beautiful.
So the opening credits of this movie are kind of cool just in that it's this slow like blimp shot of like New York. It starts at like the Chrysler building and it like goes over into like Queens or something like that.
Blimp. See, I was like,
It's
this
not really
is
a
way
helicopter
before.
shot
This
because
is way
it's
before drone technology.
yeah, yeah. But it's not really a helicopter shot because it's moving so slowly. You know, it must be some sort of blimp or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, the opening credits are fine. Um,
The sun rising, very 80s New York right off the bat.
this is a very 80s movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Starring, the title
the title of the movie is Someone to Watch Over Me, which is essentially a challenge to anyone to remember it immediately. Like, there's no way you hear, like, if I went to my girlfriend, I said, hey, man, I want Someone to Watch Over Me. And she's like, okay, cool. And then we watched the movie. And then 2 days later, I asked her what movie we watched. She would be like, I have no fucking clue what the name of that movie was.
It's crazy you say that because I literally just Google searched Someone to Watch Over You.
Oh, that's what you thought it was?
100%.
The title of this movie is like vapor. It just like evaporates as you say it. Just stops existing as you say it.
Yeah.
Woo!
It's a
Someone watch over
mouthful.
me.
But it's based off of a song.
Well, I mean,
this-
the movie is not based off of a song, but the title.
No, I'm
is,
thinking Ridley Scott heard this song
it's not true.
and then was like, how can I make an
It's not
entire
true.
movie?
It's not true, and I have receipts. So, this is a crime drama, not really thriller. I guess trying to be a thriller. There's some thriller elements, but
Here's my first problem: that they bill it as a thriller. It's not a fucking thriller.
It's not.
It has the most nonchalant B-level threat.
Okay, well, let's set the stage here real quick. Someone to Watch Over Me, directed by Ridley Scott. It's his 5th movie.
Or I think we are at number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Starring Tom Berenger, Mimi Rogers, and Lorraine Bracco.
I like how you got a little excited right before you said that third one.
Oh, we talk about it.
Nice.
Okay, there's something going on in this movie.
Yeah.
And it is the story of a police officer who's assigned to protect a witness who witnessed a murder, and he like falls in love with her and has an affair with her.
Yep.
That's about it. There's a gangster or something like that coming after her.
No, that's about it.
About it. That really is about it.
The meat of this movie is about the interpersonal drama between the three central characters.
Cool. All right. So let's start off with, how did this movie come to be? I believe in episode 1 of this season, I said that I had a book that was sort of full of interviews that Ridley Scott did. It was like a collection of all kinds of interviews going from his very first movie, The Duelist, all the way up until I believe it ends with Kingdom of Heaven. I think that's when the book came out, was like right when Kingdom of Heaven was coming out. So this book is gonna be valuable information for behind the scenes.
I'm glad this is getting a callback. I've been waiting to hear back from this book.
Well, so I said, hey, you know what? Let me get some context. I cracked the book open. The book completely skips this movie. It goes from legend to Black Rain. There is not a word about this movie in the book.
Great. Excellent.
I was laughing so I was like, I can't believe that they just skipped this movie. This movie's so anonymous
that's all right, because guess what? You're in luck, because I watched the behind the scenes for this movie.
I watched 2. Well, I watched 1 and got bored of the other one. I stopped watching it.
I was totally joking. I didn't watch it behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. I did.
This is anonymous.
I did, and I'm not joking. This is not a bit. I did watch an interview with screenwriter Howard Franklin, who wrote this movie. It's like a 15-minute interview of him just talking about sort of genesis of this movie, and how it came to be and all this stuff. There's some interesting information, but I'll go through it really quickly. It's not too shocking. There's nothing too juicy here.
I can't imagine there would be.
Okay, so before we get negative on the movie, because it feels like there's a little bit of negative vibes in the air.
What?
I do want to really quickly talk about, and I guess this isn't really a defense of this movie at all, but sort of, I have a longing for these kinds of movies that don't get made anymore. These sort of mid-budget, just like adult movies, just human dramas, starring a couple movie stars, and that's it. These movies don't really get made. It's either like you go and you see like indie, horror movies or like big blockbusters. That's really
100%. Nowadays, they're looking for a much better story, for sure.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about the fact that this movie cost. Okay, I've got your budget and all that stuff right here. This movie cost $12,800,000, which is a significant step down from his last couple of movies, which we'll get into that as well. And it topped out at 10.2. So it bombed. This movie bombed.
It bombed.
And there is actually quantifiable reason for why it bombed. This movie came out 4 weeks after Fatal Attraction, which is the big elephant in the room when you talk about this movie.
Right. Why would
So,
you go see this movie when you can see that movie?
yes, this Fatal Attraction was such a fucking phenomenon when it came out. Like one of the biggest hits of that year. And it has a very similar plot line of a man cheating on his wife and a sort of thriller, bent to it. It's a much better movie than this, but
It's significantly better than this.
It must have hurt for Fatal Attraction, because in Fatal Attraction's fourth week. Oh God, I wonder if I can look this up. I'm going to try and look this up. Talk about something, because I really am curious about just something if I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what your history is with Tom Berenger.
Yeah, I know him from Platoon. Don't really have much.
Right.
Yeah,
No, I thought he was good in Platoon. I think that's the first time I was really introduced to him. He's I believe the villain in that movie, and I thought
he's he's got like a scarred up face. He's just one of the fucked up, soldiers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I liked him I thought he was a pretty awesome villain.
He's good in that.
He was much better in that than he was in this.
He's not very good in this, is he?
He looks bored. And then I started thinking to myself, maybe he's not really good, period.
I'm not really a big Berenger fan. I don't think he's bad, but he's just...
No, but at a certain point in time, there was a lot of male stars that were cast because they had a certain look and they didn't do much,
Sure, yes.
And I feel like this is another one of those guys, he has the look, and every once in a while you can see him turn it up. But anytime you're looking for like real solid emotion, which this role needs, is heartfelt, earnest emotion.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts on what this movie needs.
Yeah, and I didn't think he was the right really fit for it. On the other hand, I don't know really how much I like Minnie Driver either. I thought
it's a good thing you don't like her, because she's not in this movie. You're talking about Mimi Rogers.
Oh, Mimi Rogers. Yeah, you know what? I've done that my whole life with those two.
Minnie Driver and Mimi Rogers.
Yes, I think it's the
Minnie and Mimi.
There you go.
Yeah, I get it.
Makes sense.
No, Minnie Driver's great. All right, so my thoughts on Tom Berenger. I guess let me get more sort of behind the scenes context shit out the way before we dive into like my full thoughts on this mediocre movie. Right when this movie got made, I'm getting all of this information from the interview with Howard Franklin, the screenwriter I just watched.
Yeah.
Columbia had just been taken over by a man named David Putnam, who was a British producer. He produced like Chariots of Fire was, the big... Anyway, so he takes over Columbia, and his big prerogative is, we don't need movie stars. They cost too much money. They're not worth the effort. They have too much vanity. We're just going to hire like workaday actors, which is sort of how the cast of this movie came together.
Right. I get that.
Because, you're mid 80s. You look at this movie and you would think like Dustin Hoffman, Al Pacino, like those are the people you would think you would see in a movie like this.
I mean, they weren't shooting for the top tier, that's for sure.
No, which is like that was the producer's sort of whole prerogative, is like, we're not paying for these massive movie stars anymore. We don't need them. So that's sort of how the cast gets brought together. Berenger gets hired off of Platoon, like Ridley Scott sees him in Platoon and is like, that's the guy, which I guess I can see that. Let me talk really quickly about... Oh, go ahead. Do you have...
Well, no, I'm just... At that time, you don't know Berenger's ceiling. Now we know it. It's kind of whatever.
I guess.
But at the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
this is little...
I don't... No offense to Tom Berenger,
here, but...
or maybe much offense. I don't know. Maybe he's a piece of shit. I don't know.
No, I'm not trying to come for Tom Berenger. I'm just talking about this is mid 80s.
Yeah.
And I bet the casting casting director was hyped to get these tier 2, tier 3 actors, You
must have... I gotta say, when you're shooting this movie, like before, the dailies come out or whatever, and you just see Lorraine Bracco just devastating, just crushing everyone around her, you've got to be stoked to have like basically discovered Lorraine Bracco.
Well, that's okay. That's well, was this before Goodfellas? This is Goodfellas.
3 years before Goodfellas. Right. This is like her first like actual movie.
So yeah, I mean, she
just comes out the gate fully formed.
Here's my note: Lorraine Bracco stole the show.
She is, every time she's in the movie, like on screen, I'm just like, wait, is this like a perfect movie? Because like she is so good in this.
Good. I don't know. I instantly, after I watched this, I started looking up her other roles. Like, where else?
I need more Bracco. Watch all Sopranos again.
All Sopranos. Well, it's so crazy to me because I I'm like, I think like 3 or 4 episodes into Sopranos season 2,
Okay.
and the whole time I'm like, man, it's been a while, granted, but I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, I just thought she was great in this, but
She's so good. She is like totally elevating the entire movie.
Well,
Like,
this
every
is
time
the
she's on
thing.
screen.
This movie, the only good thing about there's a couple things that work about this movie, but the thing that this movie needs to work the most is that family drama,
Yes.
because that's what it is centered around, and that's what she is there for.
And she is, I'm gonna say this, so good in this movie that she is actively ruining the movie. She's too good for this movie. She's actually making the movie worse by being so good. And mostly by being like so sympathetic. Like you just love her every second she's on screen. She's totally throwing the balance of the movie out of whack because you're like, well, she's the best. Why are you cheating on her?
Well, she's really good in the role.
She's really good.
It's
she's
a lot of
so
heart.
like,
It's
she's so great.
all right.
All right, so just let me finish talking about this interview that I watched with Howard Franklin. So basically, he comes up with this movie after seeing William Friedkin's movie Cruising, starring Al Pacino.
Okay.
Which Al Pacino plays like a cop who has to go and infiltrate the gay community to like track down a serial killer. So like Pacino's going to all these like leather bars and stuff like that. And Franklin, the screenwriter, was like, wouldn't it be interesting if like he had a family, like if he had to do all this and there was a family? So like that was his initial idea, was like to sort of bring a family element into like a skeezy cop drama. And he, in this interview, kind of speaks of this movie not negatively, but you can tell there are some things that he didn't like the way it turned out. And he sort of speaks about this movie with some distance. Like he's like almost like, yeah, that was my first movie. Ridley Scott did this and Ridley Scott did that. Not negatively necessarily, but like in a way where he kind of disagrees with the direction of this movie, which I think is fascinating. The key thing being he said he wanted this movie to feel like a 70s movie, and Ridley Scott wanted to make like a glossy 80s movie, which is what this is. This is an 80s movie through and through.
100%. I mean, you get that from the everything, opening credits, soundtrack. It's, what is this? It's got an 80s vibe throughout the whole,
like strong. Yeah.
So I mean, and all the way down to the actors, there's certain things that the way they used to make those old movies, the ones that you say that you miss, but let me tell you why you shouldn't. They like to omit logical plot devices. You know what I'm saying?
Why can't I miss movies?
No, not these ones where it's like, oh, all of a sudden.
I'm not saying I want someone to make this movie.
No, but it's the vibe of these. I feel like a lot of these 80s movies, like you mentioned last week, where you grow attachment, and we got a lot of hate for our Legend take, because a little bit, because a lot of people watch that as, when they're growing up, and they've grown that attachment to it. And
exactly what I said.
Yeah, when you go back and watch it, it's like, oh, it's actually not
good.
Very good. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of people that probably watched this during when it came out. That
I'm going to go ahead and say that I already disagree with you. I don't think anyone watched this when it came out.
Oh shit! All right.
Legend has a cult following. Legend has Tim Curry
for sure.
and Tom Cruise. That. Like there's this movie, like I guarantee you, like 9 out of 10 people have never heard of this.
I would say it definitely is significant. Yeah, Legend is iconic. I'm not obviously that's Tim Curry as Darkness.
Yeah.
It's a bit different than Tom
It's
Berenger.
got Blix, the greatest movie star of all time.
Blix, yeah. Everyone kind of was all about Blix.
Everyone loves Blix, okay?
I guess, yeah. You can hit the nail right on the head with that one.
I haven't looked at. Are you talking about like our Facebook post?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit of Blix love, huh?
Yeah, a little Blix love.
You know what? Everyone out there, if you're listening to this, and I don't know why you would be listening to this episode, but hopefully you are, please send me Blix fan art if you are an artist and you like Blix. I want to see some Blix.
Or don't. I mean, yeah, you can
I want it. I don't care. It could be NSFW. I don't give a fuck. Let me see some Blix.
Oh boy, some Blix. Yeah, you're definitely getting some Blix love with that.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
No, but you're just talking about when I say mid-budget adult movies like this, I don't mean of this quality. I just mean of this size. So like even going into the 90s, like, like the Grisham thrillers, like The Firm or like The Pelican Brief, stuff like, or even honestly like Fatal Attraction. Like these kind of movies don't get made unless they're like really small or they don't exist at all, because then you're getting into blockbuster territory, which is at this point only like sci-fi adventure movies.
Sure. Yeah, no, I agree. The three you just said though are really great.
They're really good movies.
Way better than this.
Yes, I agree with you, Brent. Yeah. I don't like this movie. It's bad. It's not good. This movie fails, I think. I don't know what else about this Howard Franklin interview that I thought was interesting. Yeah, the main thing I think that I found fascinating was the idea that he wanted this to feel like a 70s movie, which means, in the interview, he admits that this movie doesn't have a lot of story. Like, there's not a lot to this. It's pretty bare bones. And if you're making a movie like that, especially when you're making it inspired by like the 70s crime movies that are those movies are mostly just like fucking attitude and energy. You need that. And Ridley Scott's approach to making this like a glossy, sexy 80s movie doesn't work with this material because you need movie stars. This is the whole dichotomy of this movie that fails, is like Fatal Attraction is a great movie because Michael Douglas and Glenn Close are magnetic when they're on screen. Mimi Rogers and Tom Berenger, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I'm asleep. Like, there's no sex to this movie at all. This movie is not sexy. It's not gripping me. I'm just so you know, I'm going to keep referencing Fatal Attraction because they came out a month apart and are so similar, and one is so successful and one is so not. And I know, like, it's very clear why one succeeded and one didn't.
Well, yeah, well, the right in the what you just said, because Glenn Close is iconic in that role and she's throughout it. This is the villain in this movie. His name is, what is his name? Venza? Joey Venza?
Sure. His name's Darth Vader. Who gives a shit?
Sure. Because he's in there for about 3 scenes, but yet the whole thing revolves around this guy's assassination plot to kill her.
All right.
Or not assassination.
Let's talk about
witness.
Let's talk about the plot of the movie really quick, which is Tom Berenger is a cop who has just been promoted to detective, right?
Well, I like how it opens because this is Ridley Scott. The best thing we can talk about this movie is Ridley Scott's style, because it does have style. This movie
looks pretty good.
Good.
It looks good
right off the bat. With the credits you're going through with Mimi Rogers, not Minnie Driver, and her fiance, and she's meeting up with an old friend. At the same time,
are they engaged?
It seems like Neil, they're like. I didn't really get the vibe. It's weird how this is set up. It
feels like maybe they're like upper
they bang
class
later on in the movie, so it's like, yes, because Berenger hears it, or one of the cops hear it,
and they're like, hoo.
Of course, because it's 80s and it's like, of course. But anyway, you're seeing like this really glamorous lifestyle in contrast at the same time while you're seeing Tom Berenger's character's home life, where he's just celebrating. It's a party that his friends and family are throwing for him, just becoming detective.
Yeah.
So you're seeing this contrast of this high society life, glamorous, shiny, and then everyone else is in jeans, hugging, smiling. It's love. I don't know. I liked it.
I like it, and I like the way that the opening credits kind of show you that, by starting in Manhattan, which is all glossy and beautiful.
This is the most human we're going to get out of this film.
No, we're not, because I want to talk more about Lorraine Bracco.
Sure.
So yeah, and then we cut to some scene, and I still don't fully understand what happens, but basically, I almost said Minnie Driver. Mimi Rogers goes to some other part of the club that isn't open, and witnesses her friend getting murdered by, I'm guessing, like a loan shark who's like, you borrow money from me, and like, I don't know,
everything about that. It's like you want to keep getting money from him. Like you want the relationship to continue.
Anyway,
it's just
So he kills this guy.
Yeah,
it's a pretty brutal death. Like, he very suddenly like jams like an ice pick or something into his throat and then like shivs him.
Solid death. Yeah, I'll take
it. Right? So Mimi Rogers sees this.
Doesn't make sense.
No, it does. I guess they don't
like
really,
as he's doing it, I'm like, why? Why are you doing that?
I never really understood like what the relationship was here, but that's fine. Doesn't
he
really
was
matter.
Scorned. Obviously, they had a previous relationship where the one guy borrowed money off him, and he didn't want to do it anymore. Because why?
I don't know. The guy's got a temper tantrum. Who knows? So Mimi Rogers witnesses this. Immediately goes, oh! So then the killer, of course, hears her.
Oh, don't get me started with that. Don't get me started with that. Are you kidding me? I was so mad when she did
Come on, lady.
I know. It's gotta move the plot forward somehow, but
She runs away, right?
she couldn't like bump into something and it fall over. She had to audibly like yell the loudest.
Oh, no.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Sounded like Jimmy Carr laughing.
Oh,
Oh god. Yeah, so then she runs away.
It's like a very tense elevator. It's not closing. Like,
yeah, he's about to rip the elevator doors open. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
There's some tension there.
Yeah, I don't mind that, but
she gets away, and then we cut back. Basically, Berenger gets assigned
to
protect her
the next morning.
Yes. So he has to watch over her. Almost like, oh, someone to watch over me. Oh, interesting. It's not interesting. I'm so sorry I said that. So he has to watch over her, and they start to have an affair for reasons.
Oh, you couldn't tell? He was falling in love with her throughout the whole movie.
So okay, all right. So
you couldn't tell Tom Berenger was falling in love?
Now let's talk about why this doesn't work and why Fatal Attraction works so well. Okay.
Oh.
First of all, Adrian Lyne is a much better director of like sexuality than Ridley Scott is, and like I will go on record saying that Ridley Scott not the sexiest director alive.
Debatable when it comes to those landscapes.
Okay, again, I'm talking about human beings. Just not. I don't know. He doesn't thrill me with his eroticism, whereas Adrian Lyne is essentially only a pornographer. So like he could do this shit in his sleep. The other thing is, Glenn Close and Michael Douglas in the 80s were so fucking hot. And anytime they're on screen together, you're just like, oh, I hope they start fucking right now. Like you are just so into their chemistry. The fucking back and forth flirtation that the two of them have is so hot. And then they like fuck in the elevator and you're like, yeah, baby. It's hot. It's a hot movie. Like it's very sexy and like really, really charged. In this movie, like Tom Berenger like shows up with his paisley tie and he's like, hey lady, and like Mimi Rogers is hardly awake. I don't know what Mimi Rogers is doing in this movie.
Okay, well, with
there's no eroticism
between those two movies, the other Fatal Attraction is lust. This is love. All right.
I guess that's not a bad argument. That's not a bad argument, but like the problem is, or I guess the other problem is Fatal Attraction is like an insane tight wire act because you kind of are on Michael Douglas's side even when you know he's being a piece of shit. You're like, oh, I want him to get out of this situation. And like Michael Douglas plays that role with so much like self-loathing and like regret after like the affair happens. And also like so when the affair happens with Michael Douglas, it's shocking. It's, oh my God, whatever. When it happens in this movie, I'm just like, you fucking idiot. Like Lorraine Bracco is the perfect woman. She like fixes your alternator for you. She takes care of your kid for you. She's a cop and she used to be a cop, I think, or she's a badass. She's gorgeous. She's funny. She's smart. Yeah. And then you go over to Mimi Rogers and like the movie's supposed to be playing with this whole like, ooh, the seduction of wealth. But like, I don't really feel that like you get that from Berenger at all.
No, well, it's not supposed to be just the seduction of wealth. It's supposed to be seduction of a beautiful woman. But you're not getting that either because both these, you never get a sense. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of people out there
no chemistry
that think those two are attractive. I mean, they're obviously on screen. Like I know, like, but Mimi Rogers, when I see her start side talking out of the side of her mouth.
Listen, I mean, Mimi Rogers plays, whatever, Veronica, whoever from Austin Powers, and she's a total hottie in that movie. I think Mimi Rogers is a hottie, but she doesn't have any chemistry with Berenger, who I think Berenger in this movie is very handsome, but like, again, it's flat. Like they are not bouncing off each other in any way that makes me go like, oh yeah, you should cheat on your perfect wife with this woman.
That's the thing. I can tell we're both mad at that because the whole time we're just, well, A, who likes cheaters? Always shitty.
Yeah, but like B, movies, I don't mind movies that kind of explore like the themes of like seduction and like adultery and like being tempted by things that you shouldn't
be. Human attributes.
Very human. I mean, like some of the greatest movies are about this.
But this movie it's the whole thing that's meat and but like its whole selling point is the fact that he is so falling in love with this other woman.
Exactly.
But you don't get that sense.
That's the only way this movie works. Is right. if you immediately go, oh, these two have some sort of like connection. And like there's the one scene where like she sort of explains why she's having the affair with him, which is like, I just feel like I feel scared and I need someone to hold me. And it's like, that's nothing. Like, that's not a reason enough for this whole thing to happen. And also, I guess not even, we're kind of glazing over it. He's putting his career at risk as well, which is stupid.
Well,
he's doing all this on the job.
Well, no, for love, you do anything for love. Yeah, like at one point, he straight up goes to her, like his wife is like, no, hey, no, you got to stop this. And he, like the following night, he sleeps with Mimi Rogers. Like
immediately,
you only do that if you're head over heels in love. If you're willing to lose it all,
it's just not. It doesn't work.
Well, because you didn't get the sense that they were in love, and that's the biggest problem here. Is because while the acting was solid, like I didn't think anyone, like I thought they were bored, but I didn't think anyone did a bad job of acting. I
think Berenger's kind of bad,
sleepy. Flat, he's sleepy.
There's a couple of reasons, like there's
not
a couple
emotional. I'm not getting any emotion.
And he's also like tasked with a couple of line readings that he can't sell for whatever reason. They're not like difficult. The one that I'm really thinking of is when he comes home with the black tie that Mimi Rogers bought him because he was wearing a paisley one and that wasn't classy enough for the party that they were going to.
Yeah.
And Lorraine Bracco was like, "What happened to your paisley tie?" And he's like, "Oh, she bought me a different one." And she's like, "Why'd she buy you a different one? And like, what was wrong with the paisley one?" And Berenger's line reading, mad. No, he doesn't get mad. He gets bitchy. He goes, "Honey, paisley's not exactly the right kind of style for the parties we're attending." Like he's a mean girl all of a sudden, and he does it with like no conviction.
High society already.
Yes, like all of a sudden he's now better than her, and like the movie just jumps to that like immediately.
Well, yeah, because where at any point did we see him getting tempted by that life?
Yeah, he like walks into the house and he's like, "Wow, it's a nice house."
Well, even at the party, he was annoyed by the guests asking, you know what I'm saying?
That weird guest who's like, "Do you get?"
He was standoffish, you know.
Weird guest who's like, "Does your dick get hard when you shoot someone?"
What? Like what?
The 80s, baby.
Yeah, I guess.
The 80s. Yeah, that played to stunned silence in my living room.
Ditto over here.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I just don't think Berenger is. He's not handling like this sort of like this guy should be conflicted. He should be confused by himself. Like there's nothing on him. And also, like in the beginning of the movie, I don't get the sense that he's frustrated with being poor or like middle class. So like when like
what
I don't right at no point is he like, "Oh, I wish we had a better car," or like, "Oh, this house is too small."
Are you
like
kidding? You start the movie with a promotion. You cannot complain about money.
He doesn't either. Like that's
exactly.
The thing.
So like for him to,
if anything, Lorraine Bracco is the one who's like, "Oh, I'll fix the alternator on the car to make sure that we save money," or like, "Hey, next time you're with your girlfriend,"
it with a big smile because she's happy and a loving
wife. She fucking rules, and I love her.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just the movie's not like it's got one idea, and I don't think any of the actors aside from Lorraine. This is what I wanted to get to is the Lorraine Bracco of it all, where you like her character so much. You almost wish that actress or that character was played by an actress who was maybe a little bit more flat so that you could at least level the playing field and be like, "Well, I get why he's cheating on his wife. Like the other lady, she's got more money." But like in this situation, it's like, no, Lorraine Bracco is perfect and wonderful. She's the best. Why would you leave her? She's too good in this movie.
Yeah, no, I'll do a little spoiler right now. The movie, my rating that's coming later on got an extra half point because of her.
She's incredible in this.
Well, her and the style, which I had already mentioned, because I do think this movie has style.
It's a good looking movie.
But for the most part, you're spending a lot of the runtime. Each night he's going over there. I'm going to say it. Supposedly he's falling more and more in love with her.
I guess so.
And he's being lured more. She's being lured by his goofiness, by not being able to work was it a toaster or microwave or something?
Oh, so charming! Wow.
Oh, he's so goofy. She's really looking for something that's she's not used to.
I don't. Right, because her husband or whatever is such
Neil,
a stiff.
Because didn't he say at one point like she can do better or something?
Neil sucks. I don't know. Like, so whatever. The only scene in this movie that I was like, "Ooh, this is actually kind of like cool and tense." After the first like murder thing, is when the villain guy I don't know. We're just gonna call him Joey Salami because he just looks like typical Italian American.
Joey Venza.
Sure, okay.
I think.
he creeps into the woman's bathroom to threaten her while they're at this big gala, like art gala thing. And Berenger is like off getting a drink, so he doesn't notice. And like the scene is really frightening.
Yeah. Do cops they drank regularly on duty like that, huh? Back then?
Oh yeah, they used to,
Just-
but they definitely don't anymore. Yeah.
Just putting them down.
You're
back
right.
then.
Cops definitely are not always drinking and stuff.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, he had one job and he didn't protect her. That was pretty annoying. I was annoyed the whole time.
Yeah, but the actual filming of that scene where it was like a POV camera that creeps into the bathroom and
I got
he
big Scream
pushes her head up
vibes.
against.
Yeah, I was
What's that?
because you Scream vibes because you see the
love
boots
bringing
and
up. You bring up Scream any
as
chance
much
you
as
can
I
get.
fucking can. I love it.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, that's the thriller. Okay, you get 3 or 4 scenes with him, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like the box art for this movie is him like peeking out in the sky, like it's a sinister looking. You build something and it wasn't delivered.
No. It's just it's not. And like he immediately turns himself in and like you're like, okay, and she like identifies him. There's like a minute where she's like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. And like you're gonna do it. Like we know where this movie's going, like and then like he gets off on a technicality. So then like, oh,
because
he's back
he
out
wasn't
there.
Read his Miranda rights.
Right. Which wasn't Berenger's fault. The other cop should have done it because the other cop was the arresting officer. So I'll let Berenger off the hook for that one.
Zing.
Hey.
Actually, you're letting Joey Venza off the hook on that.
I'm letting Joey Venza right off the hook. Good old, yeah. But this movie kind of, I don't know. I feel like it sort of spins its wheels for a little too long, doing the same stuff over and over because I'm having a hard time sort of remembering the exact chain of events that lead up to the final shootout.
Well, so that little bit, the drama with Joey Venza, him turning himself in, that's all you're getting for a long time.
It's a long time.
In the middle, it's nothing but their relationship developing. And then that turns into the breakup scene at the restaurant. Not a breakup scene. Well, I guess it's a separation scene where Lorraine Bracco reads his face, and it's just a really lot of amazing acting done by Lorraine Bracco.
She's incredible in this scene.
It's followed out into the parking lot with even more great stuff by her. I think at some point, like the whole time while she's just tearing it up, Tom Berenger just kind of staring at her in awe of her talent on screen.
It really does feel like the character that Tom Berenger is playing is like, wow, this lady's really good at acting.
like this is your wife and the mother of your kid. Her heart is breaking. Yours also should be breaking, but I'm not getting any of that whatsoever.
He has a moment where he makes like a cry face. He makes like an ugly cry face.
Barely, not enough. Nowhere near.
Because I really was like, oh, Berenger's about to like let loose, and then like she like drives away in the car.
There was no let loose. If you want to justify it by saying no, he's not going to feel that emotion. He's not going to feel that heartbreak because his heart is conflicted. He feels love for this other person. Again, no, he doesn't. I don't feel that. I'm going to keep coming back to that because there's no reason while this wonderful woman is crying and literally about to leave with your kid, and you're kind of like a zombie, dude. This is the heart of this movie to me. Like this is the climax. His wife is finding out about the whole thing. Like
and like does she say like, is it love or like do you love her or something like that? And he just like doesn't answer.
He does. I love that. This is the highlight of the movie, I think, because this whole delivery of the scene and her just breaking down without any verbal confirmation from him.
Yeah,
she just reads it on his face. Beautiful, wonderful,
good stuff.
Zing, big time.
I do love her.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant acting by her, and you can easily tell from this role what she's about to go on and the type of career she's about to have.
Yeah,
and awesome work by her.
Yeah, I love her. What happens in between that and the shootout?
Ooh, big pet peeve of mine. So at some point, Joey Venza decides to send a hitman to kill her in her apartment.
Stupid.
Right. Because he's already off the hook, right? He's clear. off with the Mirandas. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be some legal
Yeah,
whatever. Maybe
it's not a double jeopardy situation. Like he can be arrested again.
I'm sure, but he's I don't know. Right now he's all right. So what he tries to do is he tries to go have her killed, not knowing, of course, that she had a cop sleeping in her bed. But she still had one on patrol.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think
well, I mean, his big play is like he sends a hitman to kill Mimi Rogers while he goes to the cop's house to like get Lorraine Bracco.
Well,
that's his big play.
Well, no, the big thing is
right. No,
after he sends the hitman, it's a failed attack. Somehow,
hold on, wait, nope, we can't glaze over it. The movie treats her bathroom as if it's some sort of funhouse mirror situation where like the guy can't actually find where Tom Berenger is because there's too many mirrors.
Yeah,
it's a bathroom. Like you are not in like some sort of fun house.
Was that the bathroom? I got like closet from that. Either way,
yeah, maybe it was the closet because he went into the closet earlier and like was like, oh, I can't find the door. Like they're trying to like plant the seeds for how confusing her brownstone is. Like the movie,
God.
Yeah, it's giving itself way too much. Yeah, very clunky, very clunky. Yeah, so he shoots, he kills the assassin.
No. Oh yeah, he kills the assassin. I thought you were going to say the assassin kills the cop on duty. No. Looks like it's a clean headshot, doesn't it not?
No blood.
It looks like this cop just got his head blown off.
It really did.
No, he lives.
I don't. There's no gunshot wound.
He's got a pulse. He's good. Wound. Yeah. So maybe it grazed his head. I don't know.
He got scared.
But yeah, Tom Berenger's character takes him out. Very lucky that he stayed the night that night.
I guess so, yeah.
Was that the night that tonight I'll watch over you?
Stupid. Why? Because he's tired?
Cringe.
And then he goes to sleep and she watches. What's going on?
Well, he's so drained from not only
the emotional toil.
There was a lot of it in this movie.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to need Ridley Scott to go ahead and issue a director's cut of this movie because there's obviously some stuff missing.
Good. I'm totally good. So Joey Venza, with now having his assassin been killed from this failed moronic attempt, starts to follow the cop that took out his assassin and sees him meet up with his son.
Right.
And starts tailing the cop, because that's what a criminal does. They start going after the cops,
in the family.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it, right?
Sure, yeah.
This Joey Venza is a lunatic.
Yeah, he's a nasty dude.
Yeah, he's off the chain, and he's just looking to take out anyone and everyone that has even considered taking him down. So, so he kidnaps his son and his wife. Takes them both hostage.
Into their house. He breaks into their house.
Takes them both hostage. Yeah. Takes them both hostage in their house. If you didn't catch this earlier on the movie, there was a hidden gun reference saying that I know where all the guns are hidden.
No. He says, I know where everything is.
Oh.
Not just the guns. He knows where everything is. He knows where Dad's porn stash is. He knows where the money's kept.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he said, I know where everything is. It's like, okay, fucking creep.
But that line specifically came from the son, did it not?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
So, but did the son at some point out where the gun was?
Yeah. Because they're quietly talking about the hidden gun, and the son like walks in the room, and they're being all quiet. And they're like, "Oh no, we don't want to talk about the gun in front of our son." And the kid goes, "What are you talking about? The gun? It's upstairs in the closet. I know where everything is."
But there was but upstairs in the closet is not strapped underneath the kitchen table.
Well, yeah, no. You're reading that scene wrong. He didn't go under the table to get the gun.
Okay, what? I think I did.
He was being held by Venza or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, as like a shield or for some reason.
Yep.
And then what is his name? Berenger like walks in. He's like, you fucking let my son go, and then I'll let Mimi Rogers come in here. So he lets the boy go, and he goes to hide under the table with the mom. And she's like, stay under the table. And he looks up and sees the gun. He doesn't know that the gun's there. He doesn't specifically go there to get the gun. He just is hiding under the table and looks up and sees the.
I did read that wrong.
Yeah.
I got the sense like, oh, hey, here's hidden gun spot number 12.
He's got guns stashed everywhere.
Like that's why he's like, I don't know. I felt like that was the end to the other scene where they were talking about hiding guns.
Yeah, no. He just happened to look up and see it because he was a little kid hiding under the table. I think this whole final shootout scene is good. I think this is a good like hostage scene. I think the way it all plays out with the kid reaching for the gun, and I think it's all good.
Yeah, it's all right.
Lorraine Bracco is the one who gets to fucking kill the bad guy. So
I do like that.
We love that.
Well, of course they made the best character even
Yeah.
more better, you know.
Yeah, they're watching the dailies every day and they're like, oh man, Lorraine Bracco's just tearing the scenery up. We should give her more scenes. And like, boom.
Yeah, because why should yeah, that would be awful if they made the slimeball Tom
He
Berenger character.
sucks. His character fucking sucks, man.
Yeah, she gets a kill, and then you do see, and I knew it was happening as soon as he said to come inside that it was the other cop putting on her disguise. I was like, they're gonna
Yeah, I
switch
mean, yeah, that disguise was like, a little silly. She's like wearing a whole babushka and like aviator sunglasses.
at night.
She's 6'3", 420 pounds, has a full beard. There's a
I was
cigar
like,
sticking
I
out of the
think that's a
babushka.
guy right there.
Yeah, obviously that didn't happen.
You're
Yeah,
not
and then
fooling me.
he shoots Joey Venza and like I don't know, rekindles his marriage, and I'm just like, boo.
Well, I obviously no one wants to see that sweet angel take him back, but
No, she
they
deserves
do
better.
have kids, and this was I'm assuming a one-off thing because he had to follow this with I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't have to guard any more witnesses. I mean, I don't know how they're going to get past this whole ordeal. If this happens, if this relationship is nowadays, no, he's hitting the bricks right now. He's walking home. But in the 80s, I don't know,
Does he
maybe
get a demotion? Like he gets taken off the case.
he doesn't get demotion. No, he's
No,
still
right? Like there's no consequence for his terrible actions. Except for like his rich girlfriend's like, I'm gonna go away for a few weeks.
yeah, no, I think so I can stop loving you or something.
Oh, thank goodness.
Call me when you're back.
Tensions were so high.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any repercussions. There should be after this. If there was what happens after this movie, I think he winds up pretty lowly. Probably starts.
Someone to watch over me.
Was that another thing about this movie? Was there a lot of drinking going on? Like I feel like there was a lot of alcohol being sucked down.
Uh
Only
maybe.
around, only around Mimi Rogers' character. That's the
She was always like, let's go get a drink.
yeah, that's what it was.
And him being the cop who's assigned to protect her is like, yeah, we should leave the apartment and go get a drink. That's smart.
With
That's
like
shitty detective use.
minimal interference. Not even like
yeah, garbage.
that's not a good idea, ma'am.
No, he's like, sure, let's go get a drink.
I'm driving. Oh, well. I think we both have the same favorite character.
Yeah, it's Lorraine Bracco.
Ellie.
I don't.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
Ellie. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. Fucking Lorraine Bracco. Look at her.
And she was very human. Really.
Very.
Yeah. Very impressed with her in this movie. I guess with that being said, is it time for the rating?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really have much else to say about this movie. It's impossible to find any information about this movie. There are no interviews about it. There's no there's nothing about it. Like I said, it's not even in the book that's full of Ridley Scott information. So like it's just I don't know, it's a flop. I don't know. Ridley made it because he wanted to prove that he could make like a human movie that didn't go over budget and didn't shoot for too long, which it didn't go over budget, didn't shoot for too long. He did make a human movie, but it wasn't very good and flopped. So it's like I don't know what this proves.
This movie suffers from the 80s itis.
Really does.
A lot of these movies, I'm not saying all of them, there's some masterpieces from that decade, but a lot of them do feel like they have plot devices that are very contrived, that are forced. Like Joey Venza didn't need to suddenly switch his motives and start going after the cop family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me. And there's a lot of that happens here. If there was more of a human connection between arguably the two leads, this movie could have been a lot better.
That's all you needed. This movie, again, going back to Fatal Attraction, that movie is batshit crazy, doesn't make a lot of sense, is sort of silly, and you can't believe what you're watching. But the two leads are so fucking hot and magnetic together that you're just like, I love this. Like, all you need is good chemistry on screen, and that'll sell half your movie.
Yeah, just made me feel like if this is a drama about a love triangle, make at least them feel like they're in love.
Yeah,
and I didn't get that. So, yeah, for me, but because it looked gorgeous, and Lorraine Bracco, I went 2.5.
I went 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
That's fine.
The movie doesn't. Yeah, like
I'll tell you what. I had this as a 2, and then the more I kept thinking,
the more Bracco.
Yeah, it was like two
or
help. 3 straight days after. I was just like,
she's so good.
Like, I hope I marry someone like her.
God, we should all be so lucky.
Like,
Like,
seriously.
nice work if you can get it, you know?
Wow, I
Yeah,
would treat her so good. Not like that scumbag detective that
terrible.
what's his name? We didn't call him his name one
Tom
time, I don't
Berenger.
think.
His name is Captain Tom Berenger.
No, we're not doing that. I
Detective
got
Thomas Berenger.
we have to at least one time.
Go for it. I'll let you try and find the movie on the internet. It doesn't exist. IMDb is
No,
like, wait, what are you trying to look for?
it asked if I really wanted to go there.
Like, are you sure?
Detective Mike Keegan
Detective Mike Keegan. Mm, congrats to you, sir.
and Claire Gregory by Mimi Rogers.
Great.
Oh,
We never
Jerry
have-
Orbach was in there too. I forgot. Yeah, for what he
Sure.
had like one scene, two
Yeah.
scenes. I got excited when I saw his name in the credits. Did you not? Like,
Nah, sure. I don't know. Whatever. Like,
oh, I love me some Jerry Orbach.
yeah. This
Well,
is just okay. I would say this to anyone listening. The only reason to watch this is like watch like a super cut of the Lorraine Bracco scenes because it's sort of just like a fun, interesting curio to be like, oh, what's Lorraine Bracco's first big role? This is a good showcase of that.
Yeah, or if you just want to fucking feel like the '80s, baby, throw this on and
No,
you don't really have to pay attention because that's kind of what Tom Berenger's not doing, you
It's
know.
true. That's true.
So just
Also, just go watch Fatal Attraction. Like,
look at the
it's right
aesthetic.
there.
Okay, you and Fatal Attraction.
I'm
This
hot
should have
for
been. Well, we don't have to cover that episode.
No,
Or
well,
that-
we're gonna get real horny one summer and do Adrian Lyne. Just cover all of his disgusting movies.
What do we got coming up next?
Okay, next episode is another movie I've never seen.
Sweet.
Black Rain.
Ooh, I like the title already.
Michael Douglas.
Oh,
Speaking of Fatal Attraction.
I'm getting hyped.
Andy Garcia.
Okay.
Cops.
Sweet.
Ooh, crime.
80s cops with Michael Douglas?
Yeah, and I'm hoping he's a scumbag because like scumbag 80s Michael Douglas is one of my favorites.
Okay, well, the title Black Rain kind of insinuates that he is a scumbag, I'm guessing.
Pretty excited. I've never seen Black Rain. I don't really know anything about it.
Sweet.
I know it's like half takes place in Japan, so that's kind of interesting. And I'm sure it's handled very delicately.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'm going to go off on a limb and also say that it's going to look good.
Yeah, I guess that's the one through line of all of these movies is that they look really good.
There you go. Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I wonder if, like, I mean, again, no context is given on this movie in any kind of interview. So I don't know how Ridley Scott feels about this movie, but I feel like after Blade Runner, Legend, and this movie all flopping, he's probably feeling the heat a little bit, right?
You'd have to.
Like, he's probably feeling like, God, I got to produce something. So I'm excited to watch Black Rain and excited to see, look back and see how that movie performed. I feel like that was a big hit. Michael Douglas in the 80s is kind of a surefire thing, right? Like he was probably just making hit after hit. So
I mean, for me, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we should probably tell everyone to follow us if we can.
Go for it.
Yeah. Facebook.
Yeah.
Our whole
Right.
Our whole
I guess
episode catalog is now on YouTube.
I put all of our episodes on YouTube. So if you want to you want to hear us talk about Christopher Nolan, Paul Thomas Anderson, or M. Night Shyamalan, all of our episodes are on
By the
YouTube.
way, you can skip the first couple episodes. It's not very good. This is a lot better than what it used to be, but
well, sure. I guess we're learning, but yeah, whatever. If you want to hear us talk about
whatever.
How good the Prestige is, I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. We're on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. And I don't know. Is that it?
Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.
Did you think this movie was sexy?
I think this movie was sexy.
No, not you. Just anyone.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Does
let us
anyone know that this movie exists?
If someone out there that says this movie is their favorite movie, can we hear from you?
We would love to hear from you, and we would love to re-record this podcast.
Or if you're just a fan of Lorraine Bracco and you want to talk about her, that's totally fine too.
Yeah, we will be shifting gears and only covering Lorraine Bracco performances from now on.
Sweet.
Love it. All right, man. Well, I think we're all done.
I think we are.
Cool. So next episode is Black Rain. Thanks for listening. Oh, and also enjoy the new theme song that I wrote and put on our new episodes.
Nice. Thanks for listening.